Welcome, Pain Pros. In today's training, we are going to geekage some tweakage. Inside the group, you may have seen me post. Let me share real quick. Where is it here? Well, I'll tell you what, let me just pull it up right here so that we move right along here. You may have seen me post this picture right here. And I was asking three different things. What is the first issue that you need to correct? What, and then how are you going to correct it? Is the second thing. And what issue will quite possibly get exacerbated when you correct that first issue? Let me see if I can figure out how to share. Oh, cool. Here it is. This is what I was looking for right here. Okay. Danielle, she's got good form. The head is hanging because she has the mobility in her upper back neck. She should go to a lower surface, like a table, and try to get more of an extension through the hands and the fingers. So she actually, you know what? I completely get why it seems this way. Now, actually, she does not have good form. She has low back issues, and I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this curve in her low back is too much. And I'm also going to express that if you don't quite see that, or if that is confusing, don't worry. This is a nuanced issue here. And this kind of developing your eye to these issues does take time, and it takes a lot of exposure to seeing different bodies, to analyzing those bodies, and ideally analyzing them with someone who has a lot of experience like me. To be very specific, this isn't the highest quality picture, but first of all, she has low back pain. And in this curve, it's not like this curve is really obviously bad, like some of the other folks that we've seen in pictures, my clients that you've seen. But it does kind of have a sharp point to it right here. And there's another very important aspect, and this is super subtle, but the skin of the sacrum should, in this posture, be moving this way, away from the low back. This is extremely subtle. It's not like you should be able to see this, but this tilt in the pelvis has enough tilt that the skin of the sacrum is moving this way. So it's subtle. This one isn't really obvious, but it's not like a super sweet arch, and I mean curve, like it is a little bit too deep. It's not that too deep at all. But the ruffle of the shirt kind of obscures this a little bit, but the angle here and the angle here kind of come to a sharp point. It's very subtle. And it's why I think this is a really fantastic opportunity to geek this one, because it's not super obvious. So when you were looking at this, you were saying she's got good form and the head is falling. You know, the head is just falling for people because they're not being aware of their head. They're being aware of all the other things. I tell them to have the feet where they should be, have the thighs, active, extending the hips back and that kind of thing. It's extremely common for people to have their head low. And honestly, it's not that big of a deal for people if they don't have neck pain. We really, especially if other issues are outstanding, which in this case they are. So when you see someone with their head low, it's typically not going to be a big deal. And I can see why anyone would think that this arch in the low back doesn't look that bad. it's not good for someone with low back pain. It is subtler. I can also see why it's like her angle is going from the hips to the shoulders down a little bit. I can totally see why someone would say to take the hands lower. That makes a lot of sense to me. But in fact, we never want to take the hands lower. We're always using the 90-degree line. So we need to lift the armpits up. The only time that we're going to take the hands lower is when it is someone who is shorter, meaning the hand height is considerably higher than their hip height. Because if we're actually looking for 90 degrees, then the classic formula would be the hands would be at the same height as the hips, right? However, it's really not always that true. That like you don't have to take the hands down if someone is shorter. Here's a perfect example. My rail is higher, significantly higher than her hips. And she has excellent form here. It's fine if the hands are higher. It actually makes the posture easier. So in this case, like with this client, I'm not gonna take her. Well, that's my daughter. In this case, I'm not gonna take her hands. I'm not gonna take her hands lower, even though I know that her hands are higher than her hips. There's no need to. And typically, almost always, there's no need to. So in this case, what we want to do is show her that her armpits need to go up a little bit. These top ribs, the armpit area, it has to go up a little bit. But I'm not going to worry about that because that would exacerbate the second problem as well. So real quick, let's move on to some of the other comments here. Cool, there it is. Super appreciate you guys showing up and geeking with me here. Cindy, is her low back bowing slightly? Absolutely. It is bowing slightly. It is not bowing dramatically. It is bowing slightly. And for this woman with her issues with her low back pain, slightly is way too much. And if she does the posture like that, she's going to continue to aggravate the low back. It's not going to be good for her. Flat back, yes. Tuck the pelvis in. Gorgeous. You're telling us how you would do it. Now, to be extend through the arms and hands. To be extremely specific, tuck the pelvis in is something that you can say to me, but it's not going to be something you would say to your student. I don't know if you would say that, but we're looking more for like, how do you instruct your student? How do you instruct her? Which we'll get to. Let me share a couple other responses before I answer that. So good job, Cindy. Andrea, I would say to spread the fingers. So you know what? This is on my rail. So you can't spread the fingers on my rail. Like that right there is a piece of wood and the fingers go behind it. And I love that. It's really good for grabbing because I'm almost always going to then be putting the rope around their top thighs and pulling back. But I also always take my clients over to the horse and say, let's just do it on the horse real quick because you have to understand how the hands are going to be because classically your hands are going to be on a flat countertop. For people who are flexible, I will also point out, however, you're flexible so you can do this anywhere. You could have the hands up on that windowsill if it was closed, which is going to be higher than their hips. You can have the hands higher as long as you understand the form. You can use the edge of that top chair, which is lower than your hips. Flexible people, I show them, flexible people with good understanding and good form in the posture. I want to empower them to be able to do this anywhere, anytime, any day. There's always something around that you can use counter dog. More stiffer clients, less body awareness, I'm never going to say that. I'm going to tell them with the rail, like, you can grab a sink. And see, there is actually some leverage when you grab and then you extend back. You actually can get a little bit more extension than when the hands are just flat. Not really worth getting into. Totally try it holding onto your sink. You'll see it's pretty sweet. And but many of you said stretch the fingers, and you were not aware of the actual setup I've got here. They can't stretch the fingers on this particular one. So it's a great feedback when you're saying that, but they can't hear. Push into the hands. I love that. I would say spread the fingers and push into the hands. Would that cause more of an arch in her lower back? If so, she would need to correct that. See, I'm really liking this because if you, and I don't really know, Andrea, if this is exactly where you're going, but if you push the hands down, that will take a sagging forearm up, the head of the forearm, and it is also translating to these ribs lifting. So when I show someone, I'll show them the picture. I'll say, see how your shoulders are a little bit lower than the wrists? The armpits have to go up. And I say, but you don't just take them up from like sticking them up. You want them to go up because you're extending back. And one of the big ways that you make them go up is you push the hands down. If they're holding my rail, they're still pushing down. And I show them when you push down, it lifts the forearms and it all the way. You can feel that lift all the way into those top ribs. Push the arms down, push the hands, not arms. Push the hands down enough, lift those armpits so that they're level. And then your next question was, would that exacerbate the arch in the low back? So it's a great point. You are seeing the issue in the low back, but you're not calling it out as the first main issue. It's totally the main issue. Like, I don't care at all that her arms, shoulders are a little bit lower. I want to take care of that low back because with this client, she needs to correct that low back or it's going to hurt her if she continues to do that. Activate her arms, rotate the biceps. Sarah, slightly draw in the lower ribs and check, are the legs active? You are nailing it when you say draw in the lower ribs. You're nailing the problem. I mean, to be honest, you didn't name it. And that's what I was looking for. And like, I'm not saying like you didn't do that or something. But what you're saying is going to address that. Like, so activate the arms is kind of more the arms. You're seeing the sagging shoulders, I'm assuming. And then what did you say with the ribs? You said slightly draw in the lower ribs. That is the second instruction that we give for people with an arching lower back, only if we need to, because it's more sophisticated and people are going to tend to grip the abdomen. They're going to think it's like make your abdomen tight to do that, and we don't want them making the abdomen tight. So I will get to the specific instruction that we use after we go through a couple more of these, but you're on it there, Sarah. I would suggest, so Joe, I'd suggest knees slightly bend and tucking the pelvis under. Tucking the pelvis under. You are seeing the issue, Joe. Tucking the pelvis under. Again, I would not say tucking the pelvis under. I'm not saying you would say that. I don't know if you would say that. We'll get to that in a second. But here, this is super important. Never bend the knees. We never tell our clients to bend their knees in counter dog. We never tell our clients to bend the knees in any straight leg postures. Never. We do just the opposite. And there's a training in the recordings vault specifically on that. And it says like why legs firm or something. If you go over there, you'll see it. And it's super, super worth watching. This is a really, really important point. If you have clients bend the knees, you are hugely losing leverage in getting spinal extension. Mr. Iyengar said the spine should receive the action of the limbs. Or if we break it down and go 50% of that, the spine should receive the action of the legs. You want the legs straight. You want the legs firm and straight. Because then when you move the thighs back, the knees back, the thighs back, the femurs back, you are leveraging extension in the spine that is hugely crucial for fixing back problems. If someone truly has hyperextension, you would tell them to slightly bend the knees to straight. But very, very, very few people actually have hyperextension, true hyperextension. Most people, most yoga teachers, so many yoga teachers think they hyperextend, and they've never been given the instruction to make the thighs firm. Making the thighs firm and firmer, firmer, firmer protects the knees against hyperextension. 95% of the people who I have seen who think they hyperextend, once I show them how to make the thighs firm, they're scared to do it because they're sure they hyperextend. Anytime they press the knees back before, it hurts their knees. So you have to take care of these people. You have to understand that they're coming from this understandable psychological, this is going to hurt me perspective. You teach them to make the thighs firm and press the knees back, and they're going to realize they do not have hyperextension. I will almost always take pictures of those people as well and show them. I'll be like, come on, push your knees back. Push them back as hard as you can. I want you to see, making sure the thighs are firm. I want you to see if you can hyperextend. Push them back more. I'm going to get a picture so you can see. Never. Bent knees is industry standard. And it's not that bad of a thing because the industry, most people in the yoga scene do not know about thighs firm. So give them a Band-Aid. Let them bend their knees, keep people safe. But that's definitely not how we roll. Carrie, anterior pelvic tilt. Boom. I would tell her neutral pelvis, long spine. Absolutely. I hope you don't tell people neutral pelvis. This is the same thing. Like, I don't know what you guys are saying. And let me be clear, constructive criticism, we're all just in this together. We're all learning together. But I personally would not say tuck the pelvis in. I would not say neutral pelvis. Tucking pelvis under, I would not say that because we just want to use more specific words. That's all. We want to be using words that are extremely easy to go into the body, from the brain to the body, and make it work. And maybe you say that, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. Long spine, hips move back, not down. Extend the hands. Could potentially make a lot of things worse if overcorrected, but maybe the most obvious are overcompensating and losing neutral spine. See, I don't even know what that means. Losing neutral spine where? Or shifting the movement into her shoulders and overloading them. You're close there. I can't make the call. Let's see. Okay, cool. Let's rock this out. Hey, you guys who participated, thank you. Carrie, Joe, Sarah, Andrea, Cindy, Danielle, you guys rock. Appreciate you stepping up. And this is how we learn. This is really going to move the needle for you. Invest in yourself, putting it out there, right? And in a lot of yoga scenes, man, it's not fun at all to say stuff and kind of persnickety. I definitely grew up that in the younger scene. So look, here's the deal. She's got to fill the low back a little bit here. And when she brings this part of her low back up, which should happen by rotating the pelvis, then we can already see that her upper back is kind of rounding back and stiff. This right here, take a good look. It almost might be easier if I make it a little smaller to get a little clearer. This is a classic pattern that we'll see. The low back's arching in a little bit too much and the upper back is arching back a little bit too much. This is a fantastic example because it's subtle. It's on the subtler end of this pattern, but it is distinctly observable. So I'm looking at her saying, we need to fill that low back. And when she rounds that low back a little bit, brings that back, posterior back, whatever, the upper back is going to round more. And at the end of the day, I don't care about that upper back rounding more. I want to see if we can hit both points, but we need to protect her low back. It's really, really important. So what do? I take a picture of her and then I show her the picture and I say, see your low back? It's arched in a little bit too much. It's not actually that bad, but that's too much for your body. And so we need to get you to fill that low back a little bit, bring it up a little bit so it's not as curved. I'm going to be conversational like this. And these are words that I use, but then I'm always going to demonstrate it. So I'm going to put my hands on the rail. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to pull my shirt up. I'm going to feel with my hand. I'm going to feel my back, and I'm going to try to get my back in a similar position. Right about there-ish, I'm thinking. Actually, I should do it with my hand. Yeah, right about there, because like I can really feel how my spine goes in. If I had a camera from straight above, it'd be helpful because you can see like, the muscles on the side of my back, but then the vertebrae are like caving in there, right? And so then I'm going to say to her, look, when you fill your low back, when you make that curve, lessen that curve, you want to do it by rotating the pelvis. So it's like the buttock bones go down and the tailbone goes down. It's like this. Not here. This is where the pelvis is tipping forward. You want to rotate the pelvis. The buttock bones go towards the heels. See, like that's a super specific instruction that hopefully someone can understand. As opposed to neutral spine, as opposed to tuck the pelvis under. Although you could use tuck the pelvis under if you demonstrated it and you had the conversation and you're like looking at their eyes and you understand that they're understanding this. For me, it's always better to, I'm going to tell them, you're rotating the pelvis, the buttock bones go to the heels, and the tailbone goes down as well. The tailbone's going up too much, it's got to go down. And that's the first thing that I'm going to say. I'm not going to talk to her about the upper back yet because and typically we have to know that when we're correcting this in a student, they're going to go like this. The body typically goes like this because rotating the pelvis, isolating the rotation of the pelvis without letting the thoracic spine move is a sophisticated movement that most people cannot do. They can't even comprehend it. And so we're not going to talk about it. And it is such a specific movement that when you show people to rotate the pelvis, to bring the low back up, to fill that low back, to lessen the curve, to fill that curve, we know that most people do not know how to isolate that rotation of the pelvis. So we know that typically the upper back is going to do exactly what I just showed you. And we're prepared for that to happen. And I don't care because I want to protect her low back. I would much rather have her in a counter dog with her upper back rounding like too much, making sure that low back is okay. Because she has low back pain. I'm telling you, this curve, it's not okay. And it's just on the edge. So it's tricky stuff. Here's the first picture. Here's the second picture. Is that right? See, I think she's already moving that upper back in. I think I screwed up on the pictures actually. Because I think the pictures, I don't know, do I still have her on here? I think I took her off of here. Got these pictures off of here, darn it. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, let me see, because here's a picture here. I'm going to come back to here. Yes, this is the second one, not the first one. This is the first one that she did right here. Here's the first pose. This is the first modification. This is the first, like, she's moving the low back. She's getting the low back to go up a little bit. This picture, the arch in the low back is less than in this picture, but you can see that the upper back is getting pushed up a little bit. This is subtle stuff, friends. This is subtle stuff, but we definitely want to be developing the eye this subtly. It's important. And so here was her first round. Honestly, this lady was like, she had amazing body awareness and she freaking knocked it out of the park. I can't wait to show you this video. And then this is the next. So now I showed her, okay, the low back is actually you kind of got to fill it a little bit more, but the problem is this upper back's getting pushed up. See? So we want to fill the low back a little bit more. And who was that? Real quick. Sarah, slightly draw in the lower ribs. This is exactly where you use this. First here, I showed her to rotate the pelvis. This is the effect we get here. The low back is moving in the right direction, but it's not enough for her. And I know this is kind of hard to see because this doesn't look bad. But the thing is, she's got back pain and we just want to fill it a little bit more. And this is just how we learn. Like, close on the mentorship so you can see, like, so the next instruction was definitely to draw these low front ribs backing up a little bit, and it completely worked here. You see that? Now I know this just looks like I'm making a flat lower back, and I kind of am, but like she just needs this because we're trying to fix her, and we just this is hard to explain because it's so subtle. And this is the kind of thing that, I was around Iyengar and I was around these senior teachers and they'd be like, this is where you want it. And I'd be going like, well, gosh, this arch in the back doesn't look that bad over here. But the more you are around the teachings, the more you absorb like how it's got to be. And look, she did a great job of not letting the upper back go in so much, didn't she? So now let me show you a really cool video that I took of her, which I don't do. I don't take videos of people. Where's the video? Oh, do I have to pull it over here? Let's see here. Let me pull it from this window. Maybe it has to be in the same window as I'm showing here. There we go. Okay, so this is really cool. Okay, now look at her posture here. You know what? This helps a lot. This helps a lot because you guys are only seeing static images and I'm getting to see her start her posture and move around. And as she begins the counter dog, look, this pattern is really showing itself. This low back, when someone's starting a counter dog like this, they're like here. You can see my upper back is rounding. But like she's got the low back going in and the upper back rounding. Typically, when someone just leans forward and they put the hand on a horse, this is even a little bit low. Typically, when someone just puts the hands on the horse, this is the same level as my rail, or this is exactly the same horse that she was using in this video. Someone puts the hands on the horse, they come back to here. Look at my back. This is not a position that creates a arched low back. So when you have a client who's presenting like this, as they start to walk back, this is actually so helpful. I'm glad this came up because I was having a really hard time explaining why is this curve bad? Because it doesn't actually look this bad. And this is a huge part of it because I got to see this, and now you do too. Oh, where'd it go? Look at that. You are looking at that spine as she is getting herself into the posture, going like, okay, I see the pattern. Boom, I see the pattern. The low back's arched in too much. Look at that, sharp. That is sharp. Right there. Big point of stress there. And you have that reciprocal kyphosis, that rounding in the upper back. Let's party down here. I am talking her through this. She has amazing body awareness. She's one of these ideal clients that can like actually do what you tell her to do. Like it was really, really cool. It's very unusual to have a client who can put these pieces together this well. Right there, man, that's not good. That is not good. That low back be hurting. And long term, that upper back is gonna cause problems too. Right now, the low back's in trouble. I'm just saying, like in her life, like if this is how her body is when she puts her hand on this high horse and starts a counter dog. Oh, look at that. Do you see that for that second? Let's back that up. The pattern really reveals itself. Look. Okay, she just filled the low back, didn't she? You see that? And what happened to the upper back? You correct this problem gets worse. You correct the low back, the upper back gets worse. Now, she's doing a great job keeping the low back safe. And I'll be straight up with you guys. If this is the posture that she's going to end up with, for now, I'm okay with it because I want to help her with her low back pain. And the upper back's not in a great place, but we can deal with it later. Like, we got to take care of her low back, especially because she's not talking about having pain in the upper back. Whoop, do you see what just happened? Guess what I just said to her? Watch the video. Watch her thighs. Watch her thighs. Do you see that right there? Watch her thighs. Whoop. I passed it. Right here, her thigh muscles are not firm. You can't really tell because she's got the pants on. But I'm giving her the instructions. I said, tighten the kneecaps, make the thighs firm, and then you can see it. Watch the thighs. This is a great example. Make those thighs firm. Yeah. Okay. We got the low back in a place that like, yeah, it's kind of like not the best posture or anything, but I'm going to compromise on the upper back. She's got the thighs firm now. This is a safe back. Are we overdoing the round on the back? Kind of a teeny little bit, but we need to go in that direction to fix her back. But watch what happens. This woman is actually able to maintain the low back. Now I'm saying maintain that low back, but you know what? Your upper back is way. What I said, no, you got to take the hips back. She started taking the feet back. Do you see that? I said, take your hips back, and she started taking that. No, I said, no, 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 no. Take the hips back. Watch your hips; they go back. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're doing a great job in the low back, but you know what? Your upper back's way too high. You need to keep your low back exactly where it is and bring the upper back in. You need to keep your low back exactly where it is and bring that upper back in. Yes, like that. Now do more. Yes, like that. Now do more. Come on, keep that low back exactly where it is. The hips are back. Pull that upper back in. Look at that. She killed it. Look at that. Awesome. That is super, super cool. I'll never forget one of my senior teachers years and years ago when he was talking, when we're working on granular actions and super specific actions. These are so many action counter actions going against each other at the same time. He's like, folks, this is doing surgery. You're doing surgery on yourself here when you do this. Absolutely. Is her head too low? Yeah. It is, but we don't care about that at all because we just got the two huge problems taken care of. We can tell her to take her head up. It's not going to screw anything up. Look at her hands. I mean, it's true we prefer the fingers flat, but not a big deal. She's stretching the fingers. The arms are definitely activated. The shoulders are right, basically in line with the wrists right now. The elbows being a little bit lower is no big deal. That's kind of more the shape of her arms. But this right here is just amazing. I'm telling her, after I tell her to take the hips back, when you tell your clients to take the hips back, they're going to screw up the low back. I said, keep the low back. You got the low back right where you want it. Now take those hips back. I guess we already went past that. Keep the low back, move the upper back in. Just the upper back. Keep the low back where it is. Move the upper back in. And then I was like, do more, do more, do more. And then I said, boom, right there. That's right on the money. Thighs are firm, hips are extending back. Amazing spine right there. Fantastic. I was so psyched that she could do it. It's really, really unusual to have clients who have that kind of body awareness and who can follow your instructions that closely and precisely right off the bat. And she asked me for a video, and I won't get into it, but there's some extent, like she's moving to Portugal, and there's some extenuating circumstances. Like she had some issues that my wife has had, and she's kind of got a lot going on, and I'm probably not going to see her again. And I don't know. I just was like, I'll give her a video. I don't like doing videos for people, and I won't do it again unless it's like kind of a really unique thing. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm so stoked I got this video. I asked her if I could share it with you guys, and she said, yes, of course. So super common pattern. If you check out past Geek to Tweak, you will see we have covered this before. The low back is arching in too much. The upper back arches back is arching as well. When you correct the low back, the upper back immediately gets worse. And then are we actually able to help our client keep the low back corrected and bring that upper back in? If we can't, it's okay, especially if it's just low back pain. We're going to weave and dodge with our different clients and see what we can get here. So thank you for checking out this training. Hit me in the comments below if you got value, and of course, any questions you might have, and have an amazing day. Cheers.